Hello there everyone, it's King Sloth. It's been a while since I've done any reaction videos, but this has been sent to me by, amazingly, one of my Nepalese mates, because I said I wanted to get back into reactions, and he mentioned this battle that happened, and he literally sent me the link to this. I haven't watched it yet, but one Gurkha versus 200 soldiers. That in itself is mental, but then again, it's a Gurkha, so I am not surprised, so let's get straight into the reaction. Let's go.
World War II.
World War II, okay.
From mid-1944, the tides of war were changing for the Japanese army in Burma.
Yeah.
Commanded by General Sir William Slim, Chindic guerrillas, American troops and Chinese troops forced the Japanese forces into a state of constant retreat.
So this is like the Pacific then, towards the end of World War II, if I remember rightly. The Pacific Islands. Near
For almost a year, fighting continued across the boundless jungles of Burma.
Burma, the Nepalese people and a lot of people do jungle training still in Burma. My friend who was Queen's Gurkha Rifles, he did his training here. He's told me all the stories about the animals that are there, the spiders, the snakes. Apparently, if you don't sleep with either your helmet, either the top of your boots, things crawl into your boots, and if you don't check them in the morning, there's a chance you're going to stand on something that is very poisonous.
One unit that saw a lot of action in Burma was the 4th Battalion of the 8th Gurkha Rifles.
Gurkha Rifles,
let's get it. 89th Indian Brigade, who were ordered in the spring of 1945 to make a maneuver across the Irrawaddy River to cut the route of the Japanese forces towards Taungda. As always, the Gurkhas were the first in.
There you go. So the Gurkhas are first in. Yeah, that's because they are amazing. They're rigid, highly trained in infantry-wise, absolute animals. And you can see there the knife is holding something called a kukri, and it's like I believe it's a religious knife, but it's to carry on their uniform if you're part of the Queen's Gurkha Rifles. And people obviously they use it in battle if it needs to be, and they're fucking lethal with it.
It was May 12, 1945, when the 4th Battalion arrived at the village of Taungda and established camp. As most of the unit fell asleep, small forward positions were established to protect the camp from surprise attacks. During the night, 200 Japanese soldiers decided to surprise the Gurkhas and to break their way towards Taungda.
So pretty much they have a main camp, they've set the stag positions outwards to make sure that the rest of the people get sleep. And now 200 soldiers are going to attack them. I think it's
The first line of defense they encountered was a small trench manned by Lakaman Gurung and 2 other soldiers.
Gurung!
This trench was positioned on the jungle road that led straight to the camp. If Gurung's position was overrun, the entire camp would have been endangered. At 1:20 a.m., Japanese grenades started to fall on Gurung's trench. Gurung managed to grab the first bomb that fell in the trench and threw it back.
So that's instant fucking reaction. The grenades coming at you, rather than being like, oh shit, put your head down. They thought, forget Nepalese, the soldier, the Gurkha, thought himself, no, if I throw it back, I'm going to take some of them out. He's already thinking about how he can survive this already. The reaction speed of them is insane.
The same with the second, but was too late for the third. It dropped right in front of the trench, and as Gurung lunged to grab it, it exploded right in his hand when he tried to throw it back.
Okay, shit.
His right hand was severely damaged. Fingers were blown off and his entire hand was shattered. Burning shrapnel pounded his face, body, and right leg.
Holy
2 other soldiers
shit.
were also badly wounded and put completely out of action.
So there you go, the Kukuri's back out. So now it is 1 versus 200, and he's missing a fucking hand. Near enough, he's missing a hand. And back in end of World War II, I believe they were having Enfields or Garands, which you have to cock to reload. I meant to do it with one hand and aim and shoot and reload, all with one hand.
But not Gurung. He took out his kukuri knife, stuck it in front of his trench, and yelled at the enemy, promising them that not one of them would pass by his knife.
All right, I like that.
Without his right hand and bleeding all over the place, Gurung continued to fight. He took his bolt-action Lee Enfield and started to shoot at Japanese soldiers who were trying to rush the position. They were welcomed by the now one-handed Gurung, who yelled, "Come and fight a Gurkha."
I like that. Come and fight a Gurkha. Now, most people, in like infantry situations, they fear Gurkhas because they are mental. Like, as mad as it sounds, they are fucking mental. If you ever see like videos of them going for like fights, I know it's like you shouldn't really mention this, but if you ever see them going to fights, there's not just one of them. There's fucking loads of them, and they are lethal. They know exactly what to do and when to do it. It's insane.
Using only his left hand to reload and fire a rifle, Gurung was waiting for every single Japanese soldier that approached his trench to shoot them. For 4 entire hours, Gurung was holding his position alone, killing every enemy soldier that came close to him. As he saw it, he was about to die anyway, so he decided to go out with a fight. Being a Gurkha, backing down was not an option.
See, that is it. That is 100% it. The Nepalese people, he thought to himself, well, if we're going to die, I might as well make sure the camp has enough time to get ready for when they do get over me, because the Japanese soldiers, they would rather die. Same as the Gurkhas, they would rather die than surrender. Like, they'd, what's it called? The Japanese thing when they take a coward's way out. So when they're about to get like killed, the officers would get a sword and cut themselves open and they'd die. The Nepalese were like, he's like, I'm going to die anyway, so I might as well go out. Because he must think to himself, I've got shrapnel in my leg, my face, I'm missing a fucking hand. What am I meant to do here? Oh, Jesus.
Early in the morning, his comrades relieved Gurung, who had lost a lot of blood.
I bet he fucking did.
31 Japanese soldiers lay dead in front of his spot.
Well played, Gurung.
His
well
efforts
played.
inspired other soldiers to hold off waves of Japanese attacks for another 2 nights and 3 days. For his gallantry, Lakshman Gurung was awarded with the Victoria Cross by the Viceroy of India, Lord Louis Mountbatten, at a parade at the Red Fort in Delhi on December 19, 1945.
Jesus.
Lakshman Gurung's actions in combat were an example of the bravery and commitment Gurkhas demonstrated during the Second World War. Even though he had lost his sight in his right eye and lost his right hand, Gurung would continue to serve with the 8th Gurkhas.
I don't know how you could still serve, like, because I know what of a good shot they are. How are you going to be that guy? You're missing your eyesight in your right eye. Most people aim in reality, most people aim using their right eye. It's just a generic thing, especially with the SAA that we have now. The rounds come off from the side, so most people use the right eye. If he can't see out of it, how's he still going? He must be that good.
After completing his service in 1947, he returned to his village in Nepal to become a farmer. On December 12, 2010, Lakshman Gurung died at the age of 92.
92 years old. He must have had some mad stories. He's fought in a war, and just that alone, he's got a Victoria Cross. That is instantly made your family's instantly like honourable. In that little village that you're probably going back to, you have honour. You've lost a hand, you lost your sight. You've near enough died fighting your country. You have that story to back it up. That's insane. That's absolutely insane. 1 Gurkha versus 200. Well, in reality, there was 3 to begin with, but a grenade had near enough killed the other 2 blokes. He fought it with 1 hand, 1 eye, and near enough bleeding to death. In reality, because if you've got shrapnel with lots of arteries in your legs, the chances of bleeding out is a lot. But once again, it said already, he thought, I'm going to die already. I'm going to die, so what's the point of me just laying there and getting potentially captured by the Japanese, or potentially getting even a worse death, getting with all the bayonets, grenades, rounds going off above his head. He carried on. That's absolutely amazing. But yeah, there's a reaction to the Gurkha who fought 200 soldiers with 1 hand. With 1 hand, absolute animal. I hope you have enjoyed this. If you want to see me to react to any other battles or different things, just leave it in the fucking comments down below. I really enjoy doing reactions. But yeah, it's been King Sloth. Let's like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace.